inflammation in the gut wall, which thus decreases your food sensitivities. All of a sudden, the kid becomes less reactive to foods. And we know, follow me here, this is kind of a fun journey, 90% of your neurotransmitters are found in the gut wall. And if you can have a positive effect on the gut wall, you're having a profound effect on the brain. In fact, in Europe, depression is considered a gut disorder. So by having onions, you're getting quercetin, which acts as an anti-inflammatory, which makes you less reactive to foods. ADD gone. Got that? Isn't that cool how that works? And that's just by onion, using food as medicine. Onion, when mixed with meat on hamburger, also takes away the pro-cancerous effects of meat, because those black lines from the barbecue, those are really nasty for you. They're called advanced glycosylated end products. Never mind that, I just want to sound smart. But advanced glycosylated end products are really pro-cancerous. They make you age. But even a little bit of onion on your hamburger takes that away. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? So you can eat your hamburger again. Not. So onion has cholesterol lowering ability too. It will lower cholesterol with 3 onions a week again, about an average of 40%. 40%. We're talking total cholesterol only, by the way. It helps promote the LDL just a little bit. And it also is a COX inhibitor, and a COX inhibitor stands for cyclooxygenase, and a COX inhibitor is how our Tylenol and aspirins work. Yeah? So again, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. All this from the lowly onion. On a personal level, I have 4 Den Boer uncles, and of those, only one is yet alive. And that fellow just turned 90 last week, had his little reunion with his 98 grandkids, and I don't know how many great-grandkids he has. Yes, very fertile. And he's 90, and he just stopped bicycling, and he's very bummed about it because his eyesight is deteriorating on him. Otherwise fit as a fiddle. Still farms, races pigeons, just like any true Dutchman in the southern part there. They're very fanatic about their racing the pigeons. And the one thing that I've observed watching him versus all the other Den Boer brothers who all died before 74, longevity doesn't run in my family, except for this guy, is that he, for breakfast, eats a whole onion every day. Raw. Eats it like an apple. And you know, I can go into the processing place of my sister and brother-in-law and watch all the workers. More often than not, I see them just chomping on the onion like that, like an apple. You get used to it. It's good. Yeah, and it's extremely healthy. So that's just one item in a farmer's market. As you can tell, we could be here till tomorrow morning if I went through all the other ones. And I'm going to cover just a couple others. But it's amazing what this food does. And I was just reading some research today on two new anti-cancer drugs, and they're so excited. And yes, any advance on cancer is exciting. But on advanced lung cancer, they found a new drug that will buy another 3 months of life. And it's making headlines everywhere, and I mean everywhere. And I'm thinking, if we only studied this stuff, published its benefits, what a super drug that would be called. An absolute super drug with just a plethora, just an immense amount of benefits across the whole spectrum of health. Not just one thing, but across everything. And why would a drug just do this one thing with all the side effects, and this does all this stuff? And it's because food softly modulates enzymatic processes and genetic expression, has a normalizing effect. It has a balancing effect on all kinds of elements of health. It has this broad umbrella. Not very impressive when you are suffering from a heart attack. You need a drug then. Yeah, you really do. But when you're talking about health and maintenance of health, you need that gentle modulation. Oops, that one's a little too hot. Calm down, boy. And then, oops, you're a little too low. Come back up. That's what vegetables do for you. Vegetables should be your mainstay in your diet. In Europe, we still consume meat at 1/5 our quantity. It's used there as a flavoring, not as an entree. Here at most restaurants, if you order a meal, meat's right at the center. That's your, and then just a little sprig of something on the side, just so you can feel good about it because you're eating healthy. Yeah, that's not how we're meant to eat at all. We're meant to eat mostly this. Guy from Trillium Farm, very intelligent fella. I invited him to talk this winter when he's less busy, and he will. Philosophy major from Calvin, decided that was not his thing, and went into farming instead. I went to the farm. I wanted to check this out because his produce looks absolutely unbelievable. By the way, I took this Saturday morning with my phone, so that's why the quality is like that. But he can get into all kinds of philosophical discussions on sustainability and why we do what we do. And I was, of course, listening with a half an ear. It's kind of interesting, yeah. But I wanted to go to his farm because I wanted to see one thing, his soil. I wanted to see what the soil was. So I scoop it up. It's thick, it's black, it's rich, it's loamy, it's delicious, it's beautiful. It's at a flat lake bed, an old lake bed. All kinds of things have decomposed in it over these thousands of years. It is rich, loamy soil. And you know what? Those nutrients are being dumped into those plants. And those plants are dumping into you. And all those nutrients are getting into you, lighting your cells up like a Christmas tree. Compare that to the cheap carrots that you can buy coming in from Florida. Look at the dirt that's on there, if there's still any dirt on there. It's thin, it's sandy. I don't want it. There's not much nutrients there. Is it better than a Twinkie bar? Yeah, it is, but it's not nearly as rich as this. Yeah? So you're looking, if there's dirt on it, check it out. What kind of dirt is it? Is it rich? Is it thick? And we'll get into organic versus regular produce right away. But the dirt that it was grown in, the conditions it was grown under, is something I really look. And that's why I'm looking a little bit askance at the new hydroponic stuff that's coming out where everything's grown in greenhouses and you look at the root system and all it is some liquid growing through. And these things shoot up like mad because it's mostly nitrogen. I'm thinking, oh, what about all those little subparticles of chromium and potassium, magnesium, the nitrites, all those things that are supposed to be in the soil. Are the plants really getting those things? So. Doesn't he look like a great typical farmer? Yeah. And one thing that I noticed that's too bad, and it's just a private musing here, is that a lot of our farms are experiencing a brain drain where the brightest are going to the cities, to our Ivy League schools, becoming engineers and accountants and who knows what, whereas the ones that were getting poorer grades often stay in the farm. Now, I'm not talking about him, but in general that's been happening, and isn't that too bad? Because true farming really takes a lot of skill, a lot of mental skill. You really got to know what you're doing. But we have not made farming a very much rewarded profession in this country. We've machinized it. We've made it just very impersonal. The farmers are no longer tied to us like they should be. And I feel there's been quite a brain drain going on as far as the farmers go. The first strawberries are out, incredibly rich in antioxidants and vitamin C. They're absolutely delicious. Yep. Potatoes from this guy, he just has them piled very high always because they're his pride. We always take the potatoes. I buy them as small as possible because the smaller ones have nutrients in them, more nutrients. And I like them scrubbed, that way I don't have to scrub them. And then I throw them in a big pan and we just get them ready that way, mash it with some real butter. No, I don't use margarine in that. And maybe a little bit of olive oil, some spices in it. We've got our potatoes for the week. Yeah, it's easy, it's cheap, and we use it as a complement. And this guy really does a good job with that. So, a quick word. I tend to jump around a bit, I hope you don't mind. But